Good morning. Hello out there in TV 95 land here at Lake Wildwood on Memorial Day on a Sunday. And we are here for fire response exercise by a number of fire departments and police forces here in Lake Wildwood to practice firefighting and prepare homes and evacuate people and everything necessary to save the community in case another fire hits us like the one last summer almost did. Dodged a bullet there, thank God for the wind and borate. And it's brought to you by CalFIRE in cooperation with Fire Safe Council of Nevada County Office of Emergency Services, and Lake Wildwood Association. Between 9 a.m. and 1:30 this afternoon, we're going to be going all over the place interviewing people and watching the firefighters do their job. And what we're doing here today is kind of like military war games. The military goes out and they get all their equipment out there and they pretend to shoot things up and all that stuff. And what we're doing here is the same thing, although instead of bullets and bombs, we're using pickaxes and shovels and fire hoses and water. And the enemy is not some nefarious country, but fire. Wildfire. It's unpredictable. You never know when it's going to hit, where it's going to go, while it's burning, the wind, the weather. It all has an effect on what happens to the fire. So we're here, we're going to have a war game with a pretend fire and pretend injuries and pretend everything. So in this filming, there's going to be no harm to human beings, property, or equipment, but it'll help us in case it becomes real so that we can keep from having any harm and save property and lives and pets and all the other stuff. So stick with us, it's going to be fun. Here we go.
This morning, welcome to the Lake Wildwood WUI drill. Appreciate you everyone coming today and giving up your Memorial Day weekend to participate. We're going to open with opening comments from our Unified ICs, Matt Wallen and Sean Brown. Sam Brown.
Okay. All right. Again, thanks for everybody for coming. I know it's a holiday weekend, but fires don't care what day it is, as you all know if you've been doing this a while. I really want to extend my thanks to the citizens and the homeowners of this community for coming. Actually, I've got more fire folks here, but this drill honestly was intended for you guys. Because I've done a lot of these in my career, been involved with a lot of readiness drills pre-season, and we've kind of missed the boat a bit in getting the community involved and seeing what we do. Because these fires we're facing nowadays, is all the people dressed in uniform can attest, our backs are up against the wall. I mean, Mother Nature is really pushing the limits of what we're able to control. And so the mindset I would like citizens that live in Nevada County to start taking is, what can I do to help the fire department do their job? Or help, help yourself to have us help you in a way. You'll learn a lot about what we do today when you witness what's going on around your homes. Don't be afraid to go up and engage and ask questions. Again, that's one of the big reasons I want you guys here. And I was hoping for more, but beggars can't be choosers, and a lot of people have family events today. But thank you for coming. And to the firefighters, again, thank you for coming. You're going to get a lot out of today. We've done quite a bit in the planning and preparation for this drill. This is kind of the second part. We did it again. We did it last week. Very similar events. And we'll get into the details of that, but stay engaged, challenge yourself while you're here, and you'll get some good things out of it. So without further ado, Sam Brown.
I just wanted to say thanks to the folks that did give up their day today. So we have representatives from our office, deputies that'll be here. We also have a Grass Valley PD that's going to be here. We have our search and rescue volunteers, our sheriff's volunteers, and you'll also see some folks in purple shirts that are with the animal evac, and they do a good job for us as well in the county. When the time comes, we need to get animals out. I think Matt and I were here last year. We also were here again not that long ago. So we've done a lot of town talks here because the real fire did come through and we did have to evacuate. So clearly this is realistic, and it is something that is likely to come up again in the near future. We were training last week in Alta Sierra, and as soon as we cleared off a road, an out of control burn pile starts up, and we're back at it. And fire did their thing and did a great job. And and we're able to put it out. But it's things like that that are going to explode on us. You know, I think Wildwood is doing a great job in its own of trying to do some preventative measures and be aware and know what's going on. But the folks that are here from the community, the important thing for you guys is really know your area and know your evacuations. We may not have the ability to tell you which way to go or where to go or how to go. We may just be able to tell you that there's open gates at certain locations, and you should know how to go Mooney Flat or Bitney Springs or up to North San Juan through French Corral. And if you don't, try to educate yourselves on doing that. Before coming up to talk, I went and talked to Sergeant Sullivan, who will be out here as well helping out, and we were talking about, hey, what are some points that we want to mention? And one of the things I've harped on, mostly because of Sonoma and Santa Rosa, is garage doors and folks not knowing how to open the garage door when the power goes out, or not physically being able to open the garage door when the power goes out. I believe OES is going to start planning on maybe doing some notifications if we have a red flag warning, and maybe people park their car outside if they're not able to. But Sergeant Sullivan was talking to me and explained that a lot of the things that would delay us is people would call us and say they couldn't open their garage door. You know, you can't even open your own garage door. In the event of a fire, just so people know, your car will drive through your garage door. So maybe not a golf cart, but your car will definitely do it. I'd hate to see lost lives, but that's a reality. Is in Santa Rosa and those big fires that occurred and went through so fast, people lost their lives because they couldn't open the garage door. So be aware, take some responsibility on your own, and make sure you're prepared for when these things come up, because we'll do the best we can on our end with fire and law enforcement as well. But there's only so much we can do. So if you need to take it upon yourself to make sure you're prepared. I think last year we evacuated Wildwood in about 6 to 7 hours, which is pretty amazing. But that was with stopping at garage doors, stopping with people who can't get out on their own, and a lot of these delays that come up. So the more prepared the community is, the quicker we can make that happen. And I believe previous to that, it was almost double the time during the 89 fire to evacuate Wildwood. So that's pretty good overall. I think other than that, I just want to say thank you for everybody that's participating, and we look forward to the drills. So some people who did not sign up to participate may get a knock on the door today, though. That's a little bit of a change up from last week. We just want to really bring awareness and make sure that everybody's on par with what's going on, and so that they're prepared for things to come. Thanks.
David. Some comments from our cooperators. Captain Moon.
Thank you, Tom. Good morning, everyone. The Sheriff's Office is committed to training with our partners. So this is a day where we can not only learn about each other, but we learn what everybody else does in our communities to make sure that we're safe. I want to commend Lieutenant Brown for putting the effort together, Sergeant Sullivan, our deputies that are out here today that are learning through this process. I think it's important that you understand how much priority we put into training and making sure that we do understand not only the evacuation process, but we're on the front end being proactive on teaching that preparedness. It's not just the effect of how well people are prepared. We have to get in front of preparedness at the Sheriff's Office to making sure that folks do get evacuated out. So thanks for your time. And first and foremost, let's have fun today. Learn. For the community members that are here, have a conversation with your cops and your firefighters, because we do this job for a reason, and it's for you. So thanks to everyone for their participation today.
So our agency administrator, Chief Mathias.
Good morning, everybody. My first thought and message is thank you to everybody. First of all, this community has always embraced emergency services, fire, law enforcement, everybody else. So thank you for this community. They have a really beautiful place here. They're letting us do our briefing in. They have beautiful homes. This is their holiday weekend, and they've embraced emergency services because they want to be prepared for everything that's happening out here. So thank you, Lake Wildwood, in this community, and thank you in advance for, as you can see, I'm a big fan of free food, so later on today we'll have some of that. So right on. Thank you very much. So they aren't the only participants. There's also a bunch of you out here, the emergency responders, law enforcement, and fire. You folks are giving up your day. There's a lot of people that have done work behind the scenes to prep this and get it ready to go. So what I would ask for our emergency responders is, this is real world. Lake Wildwood has been evacuated twice with some pretty major fires that are headed this way. This is going to happen again, folks. Take advantage of this day. Take advantage of fire and law enforcement, animal rescue folks. Exercise the communication systems. Find out now before it's a real emergency. Spend some time during your downtime talking with each other. Develop interpersonal relationships so that we know each other. So the first time we're seeing each other, it's not when we're grabbing somebody out of some big inferno and trying to grab them out of there and save their lives. We have a little more time to get to know and expect what other people can do and what their capabilities are. There'll be some downtime today, that's inevitable, in between different scenarios. If you're a company officer, it's your responsibility to take that time and take advantage of it. If you're parked in front of a home, talk about it. Go over the WUI documentation, go over the IAP, talk about the capabilities of your engine. This is an opportunity we're not going to get every day. Exercise communications, as Chief Ray said, that's one of the things that we always have a problem with when we investigate a tragedy. What was the problem? Today's the day to work those things out before it actually happens. Thank you for everybody for giving up your weekend. We really appreciate it. Take advantage of the day. We're glad to have you here. Thank you.
Closing comments from the IC, Matt Wallen.
Okay. I have some notes here I want to cover with you guys. So, I started my career in 1990. I was 19 years old. Been doing, this is my 28th fire season. When I was a branch director on the Middletown fire a couple years ago. Some of you might remember that. Wiped out that community and everything around it to the ground. Nothing left. That fire burned, I forget, 45 square miles in about 18 hours. So, when I was on that fire, I got a list was sent to me of the top 20 most damaging California wildfires in history. And I started looking over this list, and I'm going, okay, the Fountain Fire, that was 92, that was my second fire season, I remember that one. Started looking down the Tunnel Fire, the Oakland Hills Fire, I remember that one. So I started looking at all these fires, and I go, wow, I've been at more than, I haven't been at, but 3/4 of these fires have all happened just in my career. Okay, so that's a message to you guys, and that's a message to you guys. 3/4. Well, some time has passed. 2 more years have gone by. Now, 19 of the top 20 most damaging fires in California history have just happened since 1990. That should send a message. We're way behind with vegetative management. We're way behind with public awareness and taking this stuff seriously. So I want you guys to think about that today when you're working and when you guys are learning about what we're doing and pass that on. I mean, 10,000 homes burned down last year in California. 10,000 homes. That's the most I've ever heard. And if you don't think that's going to affect insurance rates, wait till this fall when your renewal comes up. Things are going to be changing. So we got to start getting more prepared. I have a patch on my chest. I talked about this at last week's drill. This is a military patch. This is from a SEAL team. That says hope is not a good plan. Because a lot of times we can't count on anybody else to do things for us. We have to be dialed. You guys got to know your stuff. Don't count on hope that you hope water comes out of that hose. That you hope you have enough water in the tank. That you hope the fire doesn't get to this neighborhood. Because I know when it gets here, we're basically going to have to get out in a hurry. For the neighbors, you know, prep your homes, know your escape routes. Don't just hope. Don't count on hope as your plan. That's a really bad mistake. Learn, be prepared, think about, you know, options that you're going to have. Next order of business, WUI placards. For the engine companies, you're going to be given WUI placards. When you guys assess a home, I'd really appreciate it if you leave those placards with the homeowner. We don't need them back here. You can keep 1 or 2 for posterity, I guess, but the homeowner is really going to benefit when you say that this house is non-defendable. That's where they're going to learn. And be honest. You know, and go over with it. This is how we assess a home in all major wildfires in California. We go through and assess this before the flame front comes through, and it helps us go, okay, we're going to go back and do some work there, or we're completely writing that house off. Because they've been told for the last 15 years that they need to clear, and there's still no action. So let's use those as a good education tool today. I have 175,000 people in my response area in Nevada County. This is one of those 3 large communities. And I mean, we're just biding time. It's going to happen again, and we got to be well trained at this. We got to be good observers and be able to handle everything that we're getting thrown these days with this climate change. Okay? That's all I have. Thank you. Have fun today, and don't be afraid to come up to me. I'm a pretty nice guy.
Good morning. This is TV 95, and we're here filming with the fire departments this morning on this beautiful Sunday morning, Memorial Day weekend. And here with me is Bruce Puffle. I messed that up, didn't I? Fewfall, there you go. He's a local resident. He's also a retired fireman from where?
City of Santa Clara.
City of Santa Clara. We all know where that is, hopefully. And so, Bruce, tell me what you're doing here today.
We're here today to support a fire training exercise with CalFIRE and local fire agencies around the Grass Valley, Nevada County area to give them an opportunity to practice their wildland training exercises and to hone their skills before fire season actually begins.
Okay, so I'm noticing that the vehicles running around here, it's more than just fire department though, isn't it?
Yes, it is. We've got local law enforcement. We'll have our Lake Wildwood security officers in here today. We're going to be doing a mock simulated evacuation of the residents if they choose to participate, to hopefully get them thinking about what they need to do if a real evacuation order comes down, make sure that they grab all the necessary paperwork and pets and that type of thing. And we're going to have them respond to the lower parking lot at the clubhouse because there will be an activation of Code Red this morning just for Lake Wildwood residents, so that the residents can also practice.
And while they're pretend evacuated to the clubhouse and lowering parking lot, are they going to be like twiddling their thumbs, or will there be things for them to interact with down there?
Hopefully there'll be other people involved with this drill today, ambulance companies, Office of Emergency Services, that can be with them and talk with them and to make sure that they understand the importance of the evacuation and what they need to think about, so they won't be left alone. We should have someone there with them.
Okay, so they'll have people down there that'll kind of give them the pointers on what you should take and what you should probably leave behind, that kind of stuff?
Yes.
Great. And they'll be talking also about fire safety around the home and clearances.
Yes, they will.
Okay, great. And for that, we're going to take a break here, and we'll be back later with more great news on this great, wonderful sunny day at Lake Wildwood.
My name is Daniel Ramey. I'm with the Paradale Chicago Park Fire Department. We are just towards Colfax. We're right out of Nevada County, and I'm helping today here with the WUI drill. WUI drill, that stands for Wildland Urban Interface Drill. What you're going to see today is CalFIRE and other local fire departments coming together, and SO and multiple other organizations working together to do pretty much an evolution of what you're going to see in a wildfire scenario, and how we would prep these homes, how would we get the community involved to get them evacuated safely. Also, what you're going to see is just a rundown of the incident command system, proper authority. So if we have an incident within an incident, for example, we might have a drill today involving a car accident between maybe one of the public and a fire personnel. What that would look like, what would we do? Would we stop the incident with the fire still burning? How would we come together, figure that out, and do it in a safe manner? So that's what you're going to see today, possibly some drills like that. And so yeah, we're really excited to get the community involved, and so when there is an emergency, it's not so hectic, and we can get these people out safely. The urban, that's kind of close homes. You have fuels. When I say fuels, I mean trees. I mean seeing like brush in between the homes. You see these people with their decorative trees in between. They look pretty, but we also have to learn how to work with those. If you have a fast-moving fire in between those, they're going to ignite. So we need to practice working in these, heavily wooded house-to-house places like Wildwood, and that's a lot different than a lot of the firefighters see. A lot of CalFIRE and local government teams, they work in, there's a house every mile or so. That's some of the fires that we see. So this is a little different. That's what we want to make sure that they're ready for when it arises. So we want to do them more and more, just because this is something that we see. There's a lot of, obviously this is a highly populated area. We did one last week in Alta Sierra that was very successful. We want to, not just do it once a year. We try and do it once a year, but this year we're trying to do it more than once. This is It's really important to us, and we're seeing that in this day and age that it's happening more with the fires, that they're endangering these big communities. So I would just say this is a great time for the public to see the fire involvement, look at their property, see what they can do to get their 100-foot defensible space. What these firefighters are doing today is they are going to go to house and evaluate these homes. They are going to see, one, do they have defensible space? What that looks like is, do they have too much shrubbery around the house? Is there too many pine needles on the roof for them to save the home or defend it in a chance of a wildfire? So another big thing they're looking for is water source. When we're coming up to these homes, we have water in our engines, but if there's a big fire, we've been going house to house. Sometimes if there's a pool in the backyard, we'll note that down. That's a big plus for us when it comes to defending this home. So I just say the public needs to, if they look at this and they see the fire involvement, go out there and trim get your weeds cut down, get your weed whacker out, trim up those trees, get your defensible space, and that will make a big difference when a fire does come through here for the fire. Some of the drills we're doing, there's going to be a HUI cards with those the urban interface, drills. Those cards that we're going to be putting onto maybe a mailbox or a tree in front of the house, the firefighters are filling those out. And they're looking for, is the house have the 100-foot defensible space? Does it have a water source? Is there occupants inside? And what that card does is when they leave, they're prepping those houses. Maybe when they leave, that card's going to stay there. So even if the fire doesn't make it, that sign maybe doesn't have any importance. But if the fire gets close, the next fire crew that's protecting that home is going to look at that card and say, wow, this house has a 100-foot defensible space. It has a water source. We have a good chance of saving this home. So they're going to back in there and try and defend the home. On the other hand, if it says no defensible space, no water source, and we have a little place for notes, maybe it says a lot of leaves on the roof, it's going to be a hard time saving that home. So in some ways, if the fire is really ripping through, that house might not get as much attention. So that's kind of what we're looking for, is people to get out there and get their houses ready so they can, be ready for the firefighters so they can defend them to the best of their ability. So I would say all the firefighters are going to be cognitive. That was what we're going to be telling the firefighters, be cognitive of this area, because like the Lobo fire last year, as we saw, this was, I believe, evacuated, and that was, a lot of people, it was confusing, it was hard. We want this to be ready for that. So we tell the firefighters, be prepared to do this again in a real scenario. So obviously they're going to be looking around, seeing what homes out there are too heavily covered with brushes, too many trees. So I would say yes, everyone out here is kind of giving a feel. That's why we've chosen these areas, high populated. A lot of people know people in here. Some firefighters actually live in the communities here. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes, and we're looking forward to just getting more familiar with this area. It's a lot of windy roads. That's the big thing. When there's smoke everywhere, when there's sirens, when there's the sheriff department's in here doing evacuations, it can get really confusing. One of the reasons we're here is just familiarizing ourselves, because you can't just drive this once and expect to be able to do it when you can't see 20 feet in the smoke. So this is another reason we're here. So.
Okay. Hi again. It's John here, and here with just write your name.
Joe Kennedy.
Joe Kennedy, and he's with CalFIRE.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and behind us is
Dozer 2346 out of Dobbins.
Okay, and now it doesn't look like a fire engine, does it, folks? No, because it isn't. It's a bulldozer. And what do you do with this bulldozer?
Our main response is to fight vegetation fires, and the purpose of the dozer is to take the fuels away from the fire and draw that theoretical line in the sand and stop it.
Yeah, sounds good. Now, you don't just like doze a path. You have to dig down to a certain
It depends.
level?
Sometimes the vegetation is easy to remove from the ground. Other times you have to take a little earth in order to uproot it.
Yeah.
But the whole point is just take the fuels off the mineral soil and cut off the path of the fire.
Yeah. So, of course, that's good for the fire on the ground. It doesn't do much good for a crown fire, does it?
No, sir.
What we mean by a crown fire is when the fire is burning in the tops of the trees instead of on the ground. And wind can carry a crown fire really quickly, I'm told anyway.
Absolutely. What we can do is pre-plan lines far ahead of the fire and break the crown.
Okay.
And if we can make a large enough swath in the vegetation, it'll slow it down
So
as long as we
I
have.
imagine if you're cutting the swath, sometimes the trees are expendable.
Sure. Absolutely.
And this baby looks like it does a pretty good job.
It can. You know, the difference between a large fire like that and a small initial attack fire is, you know, we try to pick and choose and work through people's yards on a small fire and make it look good. On a large fire, we're doing what we have to and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this baby will do the job. Now,
Yeah.
do you just drive the truck, or do you drive the dozer
I do both.
too? Do you?
I haul the dozer to the
All
fire
right.
and then I operate the dozer.
Oh, that's double cool, folks. Gets to drive the truck to where they're working, and then he gets to drive the dozer and knock stuff down, man. Keep that fire down. Well, that's really great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk
Sure.
with us, and
Thank you.
And we're happy to share this Memorial Day weekend with you guys, so you guys can
Absolutely.
get the training that you need and become familiar with our community.
It's a
so
great
that if you ever
opportunity.
have to come in here, you won't be dozing my house down.
Yeah. I just drove the loop and it's pretty tight in here.
It is
So,
indeed.
Yeah, very nice community though.
Thank you. And we'll be back, so don't go away, folks.
All right, come on. All right, Rose. All right, bud, come on.
Yeah! I'm fireman! No, like,
Hi, Pat. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm as happy as a frog on a lily pad.
Oh, well, that's pretty happy then.
For the frog, yeah. I don't know about the lily pad, thinking what's sitting on it. But anyway, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, sir.
And it's a beautiful day, Memorial Day weekend and all that. And we got fire trucks all over the place. What is it you folks do?
Well, if we come right down to it, we're the Red Cross for Animals.
Okay, so you're not attached to the SPCA or
No,
the
separate
county,
entity.
the county dog catcher or any of that stuff?
We do work with animal control, and we work with OES and CalFIRE. We do work with these people, but we're basically a separate entity, and they just call upon us to help them. We're
Okay.
there to help anyone that
And
needs it.
You're all volunteers?
All volunteers.
And your funding is from donations?
Donations.
Okay. Now, okay, I had a question in mind and I forgot it. So, why don't you, oh, I remember now. Animals.
Yes.
There's cats, there's dogs, there's horses, there's pigs, there's goats, there's ducks, there's chickens, there's snakes, there's frogs, there's lizards, there's birds. Do you guys cover the full gamut?
Yes.
And any source, or just domestic, or wild too?
We do not take care of wild animals because majority of the people do not know how to handle them safely,
Uh-huh.
and either they can get injured or the people can get injured. So it's better they keep their hands off the wildlife.
Okay, so if someone called you and said they found this wild wounded duck in their backyard, you would tell them to call who?
Go to the vet hospital.
Vet hospital, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
because then they're equipped to handle the injured animal.
Okay, now, how do you guys coordinate with the fire department when we have big fires like we did last year, the Lobo fire?
With the Lobo fire, I was at IC, and CAL FIRE asked us to mobilize. Then I got a hold of OES, and they said yes, definitely mobilize. And then when we can, we mobilize at the fairgrounds.
Okay, now, you can't just go charging in to
No.
the fire area to pick up animals. How do you work that out?
We ask everyone to meet us at the roadblock.
Okay,
We'll have a team sitting there, whether it's a truck and trailer or a car. There will be someone sitting at the roadblocks to help the people get out safely.
okay. And at the fairgrounds, do you use the pens that are already available there?
We use all the stalls, we use the pins, we use everything that's available.
And what do you do for food?
For food for the animals?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say the food for the people. We get lots
Oh,
of
you can
cookies
just-
and cakes and muffins and
I
everything
know
like that.
there's a donut shop not too far from the fairgrounds too. I know.
Yeah.
That's the first thing we memorize when we get up here. Where's the donut shop?
The people in this county have the biggest hearts you can imagine. And all we have to do is say, we need this.
Uh-huh.
And we've got it.
Well, that's
There
very
might
good.
be a pallet arriving with all this food in it.
Uh-huh.
But we have enough, and then when we close down, we start sending the food home with all the evacuees.
Oh,
so this way,
interesting.
they have food
Yes.
for their
Yeah,
animal. Because
yeah.
like this last time, a lot of homes were burnt. They didn't have anything, so we
Uh-huh.
sent. Even the cats got kitty litter. You know, we sent bags of kitty litter,
No cat is
food.
complete without kitty litter.
You know, we sent leashes, whatever was brought into us, all the evacuees got a little extra as they were going home
Yeah.
to make sure that they were okay.
Yeah, we had a cat, and the cat litter was everywhere but in the box.
Yes, yes, that happens a lot.
Yeah. So, I guess unless there's a big fire going on, you're not usually too busy?
No, we meet once a month, have a gab fest, learn something, and then from there we wait for the next month and we listen to our scanners that I turned off, and that lets us know what's going on. And we're ready when there's a fire going on, and we listen to it closely. And
Okay, so when was this group established? How long have you been in?
49er fire,
49er Fire.
Mhm.
That's 1989-ish,
88 I think.
88, somewhere in there.
Yep, that's
It was
when
a
we
while
started.
back.
This group started, we were called CVMA Disaster Response Team at that time.
Well, that's very good. How about if we go around and have everybody introduce themselves?
Sounds like a wonderful idea. Wonderful
Well-
team here.
Yeah, we'll start over here.
I'm Shirley, and the one thing that Pat didn't say was that when we have our monthly meetings, she always has special, like the horses under stress. She teaches those that are interested in how to deal with the horses that are under stress and the different animals. So
Yeah. Yeah, people don't think about the fact that animals
they don't
experience
behave
stress
normally when
also.
they're stressed, right?
And a lot of times they don't even indicate that there's an injury because
Exactly.
they can't smile
And
or
the
frown.
veterinarians do come out and they do come out and volunteer so that they check some of the animals for us if we're concerned and take care of it as well.
Okay, and next down there.
I'm Becky, and the only thing I wanted to add is that we had the Oroville Dam, so it's not just fires that we work with. It is, everything, any kind of a disaster that would require relocating your animal.
And then we got Bill over there. I understand you're the leader of the pack.
She's the leader. She's the leader of the pack. I just keep her in line, and my job is relating to the other agencies and coordinating our efforts with theirs, so that when there is a need for us at a roadblock or to go beyond the roadblock, that's how we get the information. Most of the time, that's where the information comes. And the other thing, I don't know if I missed, but we also teach or go through animal first aid, not just dealing with the large animals, but everything from the little animals and which ones need special care versus others. Rabbits may need something different. Exotic birds, we have arrangements with local veterinary clinics to house them, because normally at our evacuation center the environment isn't good for a bird. We have extremely anal intake and documentation forms for control of when we have the animal and when it's and who it's released back to, so that it does not get released to somebody that just shows up and says, "Oh, that's a cute horse, I want that." No, they've got we take their picture, we have forms, they have a copy of a form that they carry, that they bring back with them, and that way we know that it's going back to the right owner, and the people have confidence that we're taking as best care as we can of their animals. We have veterinarians on call. We now have a staff of veterinary techs that are part of our medical team, so that as an animal is brought in, it gets checked over and goes on. We go on to to make sure that it gets the proper care.
Thanks, Bill. Right out there in left field.
Hi, my name is Kim Reed, and I'm large animal barn manager. And this is my assistant Cheryl.
I'm Susie. I'm head of medical, and I make sure there's hands on every animal when they come in. Make sure that any medical conditions are noted, any special diets, any burns, any type of medical thing. I make sure it's noted. I make sure I report back to Pat and make sure the vets come out and take care of animals that we think need a little extra look at. And that's pretty much what I do. Make sure check-in's done right, make sure everything's color-coded and marked.
My name's Marisa, and I'm part of the horse trailer team. We go out with the horse trailers to the roadblocks, correct me if I'm saying it incorrectly,
Yes.
as I'm relatively new to this group, and we collect the horses and any other large animals that might need to go into the fairgrounds.
And there we have it, folks. Animal rescue at its finest. And hopefully you'll never have to call them to rescue your pets or you. This is just another aspect of the training that's going on tonight. An aspect of training that not too many people actually think about. When you think about the training going on here, it's like, ooh, there's firemen all over the place and big red trucks and all kinds of stuff flying around and cops in uniform, and who can ignore a uniform? So we got here the animal rescue group, and they're all dressed in purple, and that's a pretty nice uniform in itself. So with that, I'm going to say we'll go on to another thing. The day is still young.
Today's event is a drill that we're doing for a joint effort with the fire department and the sheriff's office. We also have animal rescue out here just to help in bringing in the community with the drill so that we all can work together and see what works and what doesn't work. Clearly, last October, we went through the evacuation process here through the Lobo fire, and I think just the amount of people that want to learn how to better prepare themselves, have the fire department and all the firefighters come out and learning, as well as our sheriff's deputies. I think it's important that we do train together, not only with the fire department but with the community, so that we can absolutely have the best services for our community. We're going to throw in a couple of different incidents within our incident to see if the officers and the firefighters can work through some problems. A lot of that is decision making and decisiveness with incidents that are going on while you're still reacting to a fire and evacuation. So we're enjoying it. Last weekend we were in Alta Sierra and did this drill. We had a wonderful time learning, meeting a lot of folks, and I think it's just important that we as a community prepare together so that we keep each other safe. Thank you so much.
Hi again. Here I am sitting down in the shade. It feels great. And we're here with Debbie Mazora. And she's part of the Lake Wildwood Fire Training Committee. And so, Debbie, tell us what that committee does.
Well, we got together to put all of this on. I originally had a fire at my house in the Bay Area, moved here about 1.5 years ago, and after the October evacuation, I said, I want to get involved. So I went to some training with CalFIRE, and I was asked to be part of this committee to put this on today. And we plan on having a lot more of these and moving forward, hopefully getting the community and our emergency response teams involved and with a closer relationship. So, yeah.
Good. And so I know Bruce's home is one of the selected homes. Did you offer up your home for sacrifice today?
I sure did. My house is right up there on Thistle Loop, and I hope they're going to do some fun stuff. I gave them full rein in my back, so they could have some good times back there.
Okay. Yeah, I know they're going to have a great time. They'll probably condemn all the properties for lack of 100-foot defense, but anyway, so I understand that the evacuation people are supposed to go to the lower parking lot down at the clubhouse, so there are going to be things there set up, so...
Yes. So about, let's see, in about, I think, probably pretty close, we're going to do a mock code red, and everybody will meet at the lower parking lot. There'll be some organizations there, like an emergency response team for your animals, something I didn't even know existed, so I think people should go down and get to know those folks too. Yes, okay. And also, I am a defense, defensible space inspector, so I encourage everyone to put a call into either our office here at Phyllis or over at the fire department and request a inspection of your home. You might be surprised. It's easier to make yourself safe than you think it is.
Okay, and the number they should call is where?
Well, they could either call Phyllis at the administration office.
Okay.
Hopefully people know that number. If not, the fire department, you know, there's folks over there. Joanne Drummond, she's in charge of a lot of those things that go on over there. And I'd give up my number, but I think people know who I am.
Okay, so if you want to learn about all that stuff, just go down to the admin office and bug them. They'll point you in the right direction to get rid of you. And here we are again. I'm John, and this is Mike. Hi, Mike. How are you doing? He's with the Sheriff's Department today. And Mike's going to tell us a little bit about these two, trailer and the big truck that's back there, and what they're here and what they're going to do.
So our purpose for being here today is my name is Mike Sullivan. I'm a sergeant with the Nevada County Sheriff's Office. I'm our search and rescue coordinator. And what we're doing is working on fire evacuation drills this weekend. So this Sunday, the 27th, is Lake Wildwood's day for an evacuation drill. Lucky you guys. Happens to be on Memorial Day weekend. Should be nice and chaotic, just how we like it to be. What we're going to be doing today is conducting fire evacuation drills. This community knows as much as anybody else how important this really is, based on the fire we had last year. So we have members from the search and rescue team, members from deputies from our own department, a whole bunch of people from CalFIRE and other mutual aid fire agencies, and then I believe we're going to have some members from the Highway Patrol and Grass Valley Police Department that will be here as well today. We're going to be running this just as if it was a real fast-moving fire entering into the area of Lake Wildwood and an evacuation drill. So we hope the community takes the most out of this evacuation drill. It's our hope not only for us as the agencies to get more prepared, but the same thing for the citizens as well, to take it serious and be prepared in case a fire does come.
Okay, so you've got this vehicle here, and it looks like it's communication. Is that just communication?
So this is our search and rescue incident command trailer. We use this for all types of incidents, specifically on our search and rescue incidents, but we also have been deploying it recently for any type of emergency situation. So this is where operations incident command will be for the law enforcement teams that are out here today, and we will be the ones that will be coordinating evacuations, response areas, who needs to be contacted when, where, and such. The other incident command is going to be set up for the fire department. We do have members from the fire department that will be with us, and members from our agency that will be at the fire evacuation center as well. So that way all the agencies are working in a unified command and talking to each other.
Okay, great. And lastly, while we were talking, they constructed this tent over here. Ken, if you could swing to your right and get a picture of this tent. It looks like it's supposed to protect them in the heat from the fire?
So this actual pod here can be used for a lot of different things. We have several of these shelter pods. We used to set them up to during winter searches to keep our teams warm, summer searches to keep them cold. It's not necessarily fire rated. The reason why it's being set up today is we're just acting as if this was a real drill, and we're setting up and having additional areas for people to check in, store equipment, and do everything else that we need to do.
Well, it looks clear. I watched them put it up, and it's real easy to put up. A lot easier than any tent I'd ever tried to put up, so it would make a great camping tent if you can find out where to buy one. Anyway, that's it for now. We're going to keep seeing you every now and then, so ta-ta for now. Hi there out there in TV land. We're here at one of the volunteer homes, and the homeowner, Ron, is here with me. Ron, how are you doing today?
Good, sir.
And so we want to know, Ron, why is it that you volunteered to be one of the sacrificial homes?
I think it's a great service the crews are doing today, especially since the fire we had this last year, finding out what they can do and any recommendations they can have.
Well, that's great. We're expecting the fire crews to show up any minute, second, hour. I'm not going to say day because they're going to be here today. We just don't know exactly when. And Ron, I don't know if they're going to call you and tell you to evacuate or not, but if so, enjoy yourself down there by the clubhouse parking lot.
Okay.
They'll have stuff for you down there, information that'll make your day.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And well, when we publish this, you'll see yourself on TV. And then you'll find out what the fire department thinks of your setup here.
Uh-oh.
I don't want them to go to my house because I already know it's going to be one of those ones that they say, forget about it.
You never know.
Yeah, that's right. Okay,
Good
well,
deal,
thank you so much
okay,
again,
thank you again
for being a volunteer.
Okay, appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Hi there, here we are, TV 95 land, and I'm with Matt here, and they just came to this house, and Matt, tell us what it actually was that you did here.
So we were directed to come here to this house, and basically a wildfire scenario that was going to be bumping the house. And what we did was we positioned our engine, so we do have an escape route out of here. And we did a quick lap around the house and made sure that we prepped it, and it was defensible. So we prepped and defend, and we pulled a hose line just to have a extra layer of security behind the house to knock down any kind of fire or flame front that could approach the house at that time.
So you did kind of what's referred to as a bump and run here?
Yeah, we referred to it as a bump and run, prep and defense, just a really quick, fast pace, go in and check and make sure everything's good, let our branch and our division know that things are good at this home, and then we head out and we go to our next house. Okay, so now, the question I know everybody out there is going to want to know is, just how hot does it get in this suit without the fire? It gets hot. It's not well ventilated, so we have our extra duty uniform clothes on underneath this, cotton t-shirt and Nomex pants, so that's hot. We have our boots, socks, and it doesn't really ventilate too well, and it feels like it doubles. The heat doubles, of course, and we have to drink lots and lots of water throughout the day.
And I suppose it also acts as a real convenient diet plan.
Absolutely.
Matt, thanks a lot. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you
for being here. We're glad to share our holiday weekend with you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the time.
Okay, here we are again. Ron, congratulations. You've passed the onslaught. What is it that you've learned today?
Well, I appreciate the effort of everybody coming out and assessing the property and determining what they would do in advance as opposed to waiting until there's a fire and trying to figure it out. So learned that it's defensible and we're in good shape from that standpoint, and we depend on these young men to save our house and our property for our lives.
Okay, well that's mighty fine. And of course you've got emergency suitcases in the trunk of your car just in case. And you know how to open the garage door in an emergency. Okay. We were told at the briefing today that remember, if you panic and can't remember how to do it, the automobile will crash through the door.
I heard that too.
Okay, thanks again, Ron.
Thank you, John.
Thanks for participating.
Why are you here?
Well, we're here as part of the evacuations for today. So
Why do I need to evacuate?
Because there's a mandatory evacuation in your area.
Okay.
And we're letting everybody know that there's a fire coming this way. And you
Okay.
need to grab your belongings and your pets and get out as soon as possible.
Okay, I will do that, and I'll take my medicine, and I'll be out of here.
Perfect. And do you need any assistance with any of your pets or anybody else in the house?
No,
getting
there's only the
transportation?
three of us. Only the three of us.
Perfect. All right, we'll be marking the end of your driveway
Okay.
just to let other personnel know that your area's already been contacted. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
All right.
Okay, I'll get inside and get moving.
All righty. Be safe.
Thank you.
Hi, here we are again. It's John, and we're still Channel 95, 20 years, by the way, anniversary. And we're here with Connie and Linda with the Community Relations Committee from Lake Wildwood. Connie, what is it that your community does?
Community Relations Committee is primarily a communications committee. We have external communications outside of Lake Wildwood. We do internal communications inside Lake Wildwood. We are the committee that helps administration coordinate the annual meeting. We sponsor a free concert every summer, Labor Day weekend of the Nevada County Concert Band, just to make the community happy. We choose the Citizen of the Year. We handle the Christmas display at Western Gateway Park that Lake Wildwood does. Every year or two we do a free shred day. And I know I'm missing a few, but lots of projects.
Shredding paper, not
Paper
shredding.
shredding, yes. Yeah, no, paper shredding. And I know I'm missing a few things, but those are some examples.
And Linda, Are you just part of the committee, or you must have some functions too?
I'm head of outside promotions and marketing.
So, and of course, they are hosting the feed for the firemen here today in appreciation for their coming here to Lake Wildwood to help, number one, get them familiarized with our community and what it's like, shall we say, florally structured, so they can see the complexities that they would be dealing with if a fire should ever occur that would impinge on our sanctuary we have here. And
Our little piece of paradise.
A little piece of paradise. Not to be confused with Paradise, California, which was a whole different place and time. So here we are. We're going to feed the firemen. They're going to get happy, hopefully. Hopefully they're already happy. And everything is working out well so far today. And with that, we'll see you on the next round.
Firefighters, and to organize something like this takes a lot of extra time, a lot of late nights in planning, a lot of phone calls and emails and organization stuff when you're not even on duty. And without these kind of contacts and the push, honestly, it's like I didn't want to let these guys down. I didn't want to let the community down. It had nothing to do with my boss. I mean, I didn't want to let him down, but you know, it's for you guys. It's for the firefighters and the citizens, and that really kept me motivated to keep, well, one, to initiate this and to make it work. And hopefully it was a success. So my thanks to everybody that participated today on a holiday weekend.
Okay, Lake Wildwood and everybody else who might be watching this, here's John, and it's still Memorial Day weekend and it's still Sunday, and we're still alive. No animals, people, or property were harmed in the filming of this event, and we learned a lot. We learned keeping a good clean space around your home is important, keeping your gutters clean is important, keeping the branches on the trees at least 15 feet off the ground, and keep your propane tank full in the summertime because it won't heat up as much with the full tank in a fire. Let's see, what else? If you're afraid of fire, then park your car outside the garage. And if you can't remember how to open the garage and you're in your car, drive through the darn thing. It'll fall apart. It might hurt your car, but at least you'll get out. And everybody have a good time, a good day. This is Channel 95, 20 years of service to the community and surrounding area. This is John Weeks. Ta-ta for now.